So that means you can hear us. Thank you for waiting for us to get plugged in.
And as we were singing. Oh, say, my Immanuel, Ezri, Be'im Hashem. Oh, say, my Immanuel. Lift up my eyes unto the mountains. From where will my help come? I lift up my eyes unto the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Hashem, maker of heaven and the earth. My help comes from Hashem, maker of heaven and the earth. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Fireside. Notice anything different? If you notice, write it in. We've changed
what's
something.
What's different about the setup today?
Oh, big time. Rachel, how about we start with l'chaim?
Okay, let's start with the l'chaim. If you have a tea or a l'chaim or anything, it's our custom here on Fireside to always make a l'chaim. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. And we have usually a couple things in mind. One is a refuah shlema for everyone who is in need of refuah shlema. And we also add other things for things people need, people who need a shidduch, or need to change their job, or need to have something changed in their mazel, and then also just a l'chaim to life, which is always the best one.
So do we have any names of people specifically today?
Yeah. So we have Victoria, Miriam, Victoria, and hopefully all your kids, or some of them if they're not sleeping. We have Shayna Zulaf Barron. So nice to see your name here.
Hi,
There's
Miriam.
others of you.
Hi, Shayna.
Shlomo's here. Hi, Shlomo.
Hey, Shlomo.
So I think if they don't make a comment, we don't see their name.
We're not sure that they're there.
So, right. And Esther is here with us.
Hello, Esther.
So if you are here, and we obviously have you in our thoughts anyway, but even all the more so,
please put your name
in. And if there's someone you'd like us to be davening for or thinking of, don't be shy. And if you are shy and you don't want to put a name in here, you can send a direct message to us through Facebook also.
Fabulous. And a reminder, tonight's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about change and processing change, spiritual approach to change. And it should be interesting. And we want to make a l'chaim now. So to all those who need healing, all those who need change in their mazel,
Amen.
And those who need a Yeshua to be rescued from challenging situations.
Amen.
L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Serious business.
I want to know, what did the Jewish people do all those years wandering in the desert? Thousands of Jews. Then they finally get into the Holy Land. Mm-hmm. Centuries, about almost 1,000 years of dynasties and kings and no whiskey. I don't know how they did it.
I don't know. They had to go to Scotland, I guess.
No, it's very hard to.
I don't know. There must be.
Great questions. The Talmud.
Any historians?
The Talmud.
Out there, alcohol historians. They had wine. Let's face it.
They
drink wine.
For sure.
Everyone drank wine, and that was plenty strong. So do you have a song about change? Or are we gonna talk?
I had thought of playing David Bowie's Changes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to spare you my imitation of David Bowie.
Okay.
So, what is change? What is change?
So, if I may quote my mom, wise woman. So, my mother would always tell me...
She should be well.
She should be well. Sein gesund stark, as they say. When things were like not so great, you know, like when I was a teenager and I had a big complaint or something was wrong, she'd say, this too will pass. Meaning it's going to change. It's going to keep changing. And she's like, things change and keep changing, which when you're in a low place is a comfort. But when you're in a good place, it's also important to remember that things are changing all the time. And so it also helps us appreciate all the good that we have, even if it's a mixture, like most of us, most of the time. Some of the changes, what we feel is for the better, and maybe not so much for the better. But I think change is the inevitable process of actually being alive. It's about chiyus, about being alive is in fact being in a stage of becoming, a stage of being that is constantly changing, and we can see it as personal evolution or growth. We can see it as sometimes like maybe we're not so graceful with some of the changes, but like that's actually what living is about being present with what our circumstances are and trying our utmost to do our best to be even keeled and positive about the things that we're given as opportunities for growth.
You can't predict change.
No.
Right? I mean, some you can. The children will grow, please God.
Right.
You know, in certain things.
Right.
But oftentimes change is highly unpredictable.
Correct. Right.
You can forecast change, maybe, a little bit.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's also part of, you can't know every circumstance before it happens. Therefore, you can't know how you or someone else might react to it. So you can't plan for the future without having flexible ideas about it, which is challenging when you have like a 5-year plan. You have a vision, you have a business plan or a personal plan. You definitely want to make those plans, because without any plans, you don't have direction. But then the idea of having resilience, I feel, is the key to managing change that inevitably has unexpected elements.
I think it's so important to be able to recognize, and we talked a little bit about this in the Hashgacha Pratis Shir. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Facebook, there's a 7-part class.
I think you did a 7-part class.
On Divine Providence, lunchtime class in memory of Tzemach Kunin. Mm-hmm. And we talked about Divine Providence and how God, right, directs us in certain ways. So what I want to do for myself more often, as I hopefully am growing, as we change, is every time something doesn't work out the way I wanted it to or I planned it to, I want to remind myself that this is God changing my direction. This is God. I think I'm steering, but actually God is changing my direction for me. And when you put it into that frame of mind, right, it not only is it less scary, but you also know it's for the best.
Right. Or for the growth.
For the growth. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Or the most fun.
Right.
Or what you planned, right.
The reason I wanted to talk about change was this incredible story that we heard on Friday from Rabbi Reuben in Manchester. He called to find out how we were doing, wish us well. He told an incredible story. soon after he became a rabbi, he decided to devote himself to create a base midrash, called, let's say, a late high school program, early college program for Jewish young men who were not fitting in the system.
In Lakewood. Not Lakewood.
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, okay.
And he set up the school, and they bought a building, and it was kind of in a big house, and there was a base midrash where people could study and hang out and pray. And it was very successful. And not many people 40 years ago were paying attention
We're looking at for those kids.
to these kids more than 40 years ago. And something happened. A person ended up, somebody involved in the organization ended up taking certain moves. Anyway, the whole thing collapsed. The rabbi didn't do a thing. It was all the work was gone. All there was gone. And he was left almost penniless. And he ended up, then he moved to Israel. And, looking back, he's in the perspective, it was so that he could have this time in Israel, and he in a very humbling position, working as a rabbi at a chicken factory, supervising shechita, not easy.
Tough work.
And then eventually he was hired by a congregation in Manchester, and he had an incredible impact on the community in South Manchester for 25 years.
Right.
He never would have gotten to South Manchester. He never would have become the incredible rabbi he is without these challenges and these journeys and these changes. So we have to really embrace it.
It's true. That is the challenge. To face what seems like adversity, cognizant that it's all in how we handle it, which is the biggest challenge. Not easy, but good to remind ourselves of.
So that was kind of in a life view.
Yeah.
How about changes when it comes to dating and relationships?
Tell me more of your question.
Okay, so I'm thinking like this, right? You're single. You'd like to be married.
Right.
You've been trying.
Yeah.
You've been dating.
Yeah.
Been working. You think you've been working even on yourself.
Right.
And it's not working out.
Right.
What do you need to do to have an opportunity? You have to. Something's got to change. Right? Because if you keep doing the same thing and hoping for different results, or if you're the same person hoping for different results, or as like one of our friends and expert in relationships says, they keep dating the same person over and over again.
Sure.
Right?
That's a classic.
And that doesn't work out, and it doesn't work out.
Right. Well, I think with that particular example of someone dating a person that they're attracted to, a personality type, or something about the humanity that person represents, because they're not a bad person. They're just not the right person.
Just not the right person, not the right
So
man.
there's something about it that they're attracted to, and so the question there is, if it keeps not working out, and you keep having your heart broken, or you keep feeling sad, or it falls apart, or you end up feeling mistreated, then what you need to examine is why you're attracted to that kind of negativity,
or not even negative, just
or
that
experience of being rejected ultimately.
Right.
So
That's right.
there's
That is
something there to work
negative,
on. That's a negative experience. And so I think that's the change people need to make. And sometimes it's as easy as recognizing that you have this pattern, and you're like, wow, I didn't realize that all these men were the same person, or these women are all, they look different, and they all have different kinds of jobs, and they all come from different places, but this character trait is a through line, and that's what kiboshes the relationship every time. that's a huge breakthrough to make.
That's right.
And so sometimes it's as much as recognizing that and like thinking and maybe getting someone to help you think, whether it's a friend or a person who's a professional who's good at helping people think things through. Sometimes it's that easy, and sometimes it's harder. Sometimes you have to like learn to revalue yourself in ways that are fundamentally challenging.
So I want to experiment here.
Yeah.
And I want everybody who's tuning in. If you are, by the way, if you had a chance to share this live stream on your page, we greatly appreciate it, so we can reach as many people as possible tonight. I want everyone to say a prayer with me. Hashem, God, please help me to change in the best ways possible. And there's two things that also came to mind. Change in the best ways possible. God help me for that. So we can all say, it's an affirmation. It's a prayer. God help me change in the best way possible. The next thing I was thinking of is the Caterpillar book.
The Hungry Caterpillar.
Yes. It's all about change.
It's true.
And then, of course, the lesson of and I apologize, I can't recite the Serenity Prayer by heart, and from Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right.
But right, that is a significant motivating factor for people who are healing. Right? Is God grant me to know the things that I can change and the things I can't change, and have the wisdom to know the difference. Right? I apologize for butchering that.
Yeah, we should have practiced that.
It just came to my mind.
Exactly. Well, that's an important thing.
But
there are things that we can't change.
Right. There are things that we can't change. Right.
In other people, especially
in other people, and even certain things about ourselves we can't change. Sure. So we have to just accept those things, and change the things we can. Mm-hmm. And we ask God's help all the time. That is critical. It is critical. And as we're going through this quarantine period, all of us together, reaching out to God and reach out to Hashem is more important than ever in our lives. This is, as a society, we are going through something that is more challenging and than on a universal level than anything that's happened in our lifetime. Right.
Right. Sure. Well, it affects so many people.
Everybody.
And the culture.
Every single person.
It's precipitated so much dramatic change and rethinking for a lot of people about, their life, their opportunities, their goals. And so it is a change incentivizer, this whole time inside, but it's not easy. It is not easy, especially if people feel very alone. Yeah, song first. Nice.
So, Rebbitzin, what's opening this week? What registering for something?
Right.
What's going on this week? Right.
Yeah, this week it's going to be
maybe
opening.
as soon as tomorrow. I heard. That's the word on the street.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
First, I want to welcome anybody who's here.
All the new people.
Hello, Dina, Lev, Shayna, Sorrentino. Oh, I'm watching. Hello, Aviva Grossman. How are you and your family? Doug, Holy Doug, and Esther. So nice to see you. Lisa Lind, how's it up there in the Pacific Northwest? And Michelle, hello. Oh, wonderful. It's wonderful to see everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Okay, so before I announce this, tomorrow, please God, it's going to open.
Right.
we're going to be taking a little break. I think a 2-week hiatus.
From this.
Right. From this. The show is going to go on hiatus for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be back. And we've talked to you about this. We've been discussing it, and please God, it's launching tomorrow. The Kesher Relationship Seminar, early bird registration will open tomorrow. We're really excited. We're going to blast out the website and everything probably tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully, please God, it'll all go live. And it's terrific. It is an opportunity to reboot your dating, change your attitude about relationships and yourself and the possibilities that you have. We've got some really wonderful speakers. We're going to be announcing some others, please God. And that's a very special global event.
Right.
And we're excited about that.
We are.
If we get the technology side of the launch, it'll go tomorrow. And we're really excited about the Zoom dating at the end on Tu B'Av, right? So there's going to be a few sessions that lead up to this Tu B'Av dating session. Right. We get to meet people. We're going to be matching people. Everyone who's part of the seminar will get matched into different groups, please God. So I'm very excited about this.
Very exciting. Right. So the first 2 sections of this seminar will be helpful. Hopefully, people will feel they're able to move forward, have a clear vision of themselves, who they are, and then therefore be more clear about who might be their person if they're looking for their person, and how to have come to a new relationship from a healthier place, a happier place, a more secure place, especially if people have been feeling a lot of turmoil and a little shy to date.
Right. A
lot of folks we've been talking to were like, I don't know how to date. I don't really feel like I'm at my best. I'm not on my A game, someone said to me, and I was like, yeah, you don't feel like it's your A game. You're working from your house, you're working in your PJs, or you're dressing up to Zoom, and then, whatever. It's like a crazy life. And so people don't feel like their usual vibrant, dynamic selves. So we're hoping this seminar series and then the dating fun at the end will help people kind of launch themselves into this new reality, because as much as we hope things will get back to normal soon, it's not necessarily happening as soon as we would like.
There you go.
And we need to be safe and protect ourselves and our loved ones. And so instead of putting our lives on hold, we want to launch everyone with renewed energy into the next chapter. Preemptive but good.
Kol ha'olam kulo Oy gesher tzamiot Oy gesher tzamiot Oy gesher tzamiot Kol ha'olam kulo Oy gesher tzamiot Oy gesher tzamiot Ve'ha'ikar ve'ha'ikar Lo lefachet klal Ve'ha'ikar Lo lefachet klal Oh, the main thing to recall is to have no fear. Have no fear at all. But the main thing to recall is to have no fear at all. Die, 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 and die, die, die. Die, 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 die.
Dana Siegelman just joined us, and Evan Charles.
Oh, very
So
nice.
nice to see you. So glad you're here.
We really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We didn't get any burning questions.
Yeah, no.
But we got some beautiful comments, and we thank you all so much. And remember, change is good, and to embrace it and pray that you go through it in a good way.
Amen. Right.
And that it's a process of growth. And if there were no changing, then we wouldn't be probably alive.
No, we wouldn't.
Right? We have to keep connected to our source, connected to God, and embrace the change. And sometimes it's scary, and that's okay too. And hopefully we realize that Hashem is steering us on the right path. Shavua Tov, everybody. Shavua Tov. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Have a great week.